Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second of our 2021 SMART series. My name is Emily Wenzel, and I am the Director of Events and Programs at the Iowa City Area Business Partnership. This afternoon's presentation is Energy Efficiency Rebates and Programs, which is presented by the City of Iowa City's Climate Action Committee in partnership with MidAmerican Energy. We will be recording this webinar and we'll have it posted to our YouTube page shortly after we finish in case you need to leave early. Before we get to our presentation, there are a few people I would like to thank. First, I'd like to thank our lead 2021 SMART Series sponsor, MediaCom Business. And I'd like to thank our supporting sponsors, BRL Human Resources and Payroll Consulting, the City of Coralville, the City of Iowa City, and Terry Lockridge and Dunn. Before we get started, I want to play a quick message from our lead sponsor, MediaCom Business.
What's the measure of success for my business? It's the ability to keep serving my customers, keep evolving, keep succeeding under any circumstances. It's also having the right technology to restructure, reimagine, or reboot my business without slowing down. Fast, secure business Wi-Fi internet from MediaCom Business helps me achieve this, no matter what the future brings to my doors. MediaCom Business makes it easy for small business to do big things.
Thank you, MediaCom. And if you'd like to get in touch with them, contact information for one of their representatives is currently on the screen. Right. One more quick thing before we get started officially. If you have questions for our panelists, you're free to ask those at any time. We just ask that you put them in the Q&A box down at the bottom of the screen. You just click on that Q&A and then submit your question, and we'll get to it when we have Q&A at the end, or if one of our panelists sees it and would like to answer via text, they're welcome to do that as well. Alrighty, now that I've gotten all of that taken care of, we can move on to our speakers. First, I will introduce Wendy Ford, who is the Economic Development Coordinator for the City of Iowa City.
Hi, everyone. I'm Wendy Ford, as Emily said, Economic Development Coordinator for going on 15 years at the City of Iowa City. Welcome to today's webinar. We're happy you're here. The City Council has been working on climate action goals for several years now and wants to ensure that climate action covers all areas of service in the city. Among other things, they've charged us with doing outreach, education, and providing incentives to encourage climate action. Those goals have created the natural partnership between economic development and climate action outreach, a relatively new city division. Incentives have long been part of economic development, but in this new era, we are working with our climate action colleagues to offer in select industrial and commercial areas energy efficiency matching grants funded by tax increment financing, or TIF. The three industrial areas included are the Sycamore and First Avenue area, Hines Road and Scott 6, and the downtown riverfront crossings area features mostly the commercial area that we're targeting. We'll be promoting these programs early this year, so keep an eye out for those. Today's is one of 4 webinars sponsored in part by the city, designed to get people thinking about how to take climate action in their own businesses. Future webinars in May, August, and November will focus on LED lighting, where there are more savings than you think, water management from top to bottom, where we'll talk about everything from rooftop gardens to permeable pavers, and getting around green, driving and transportation in the climate action age. We hope you'll be able to attend all of them. So here to tell you more about Iowa City's climate action to date is Sarah Gardner, our climate outreach engagement specialist.
I'm going to pop in real quick just to share. Sarah, your slides are showing the presenter view.
Oh, no.
So if you want to go up to display settings on the top there and switch it.
Let's see. Well, thank you for alerting me to that. You know what I'll do is stop sharing and try resharing. With many apologies that it's not working as intended.
Not a problem. You'd think that it would work, but I do enough of these to tell you that something always goes sideways and it's never your fault.
Boy, isn't that the truth? Is this better? Can you see the display screen now?
Perfect.
My apologies. Well, I think Zoom and PowerPoint together exist to help keep us humble. So as Wendy had mentioned, I am the Climate Action Engagement Specialist here with Iowa City. And really I was brought in as part of an ongoing effort in the city, as many are aware, to address climate action and to move forward on our emissions reductions goals. Now I'm so paranoid about the display settings, I'm going to ask, are you able to see the climate action in Iowa City slide, or are we still on climate action and economic development? All right. Well, as Wendy mentioned, these are ongoing efforts in Iowa City to address emissions reductions, and the city has been looking at this on a lot of different fronts. It started first with taking a look at our greenhouse gas inventories and seeing what the city itself could be doing in terms of our own facilities. So all the fire stations and city hall and the wastewater treatment plant, buildings like that, how can we help create energy efficiencies there and make better use of clean sources of energy to help reduce the emissions profiles, but also looking more broadly into the city itself to see what are other ways we as a community together can move forward. And all of these efforts were combined into the most recent action plan, which is called Accelerating Iowa City's Climate Actions. This was released and approved just last year in April 2020, and it outlines our most recent goals, which are to reduce our carbon emissions 45% by 2020 and to reach net zero by 2050. Of course, the question I think anybody can ask is, why have a climate action plan, right? And there are many reasons to do so. Of course, we had just talked about the emissions reductions, but I think for members of the business community, it is equally compelling to look at other reasons that are outlined within the plan itself. And some of that language might be surprising. Some of the things that the plan outlines talks about leading by example, building a strong local economy, creating job opportunities, reducing costs for residents and businesses, and ensuring a higher quality of life. All of which is to say, the plan isn't just saying we're going to reduce emissions for emissions' sake, but we're doing it with some very clear goals in mind, including attracting and retaining a 21st century workforce, and leading by example so that we know that Iowa City is a city where there's a great quality of life and a good long-term business climate. And part of that, of course, is providing support to businesses who are doing that work. So as Wendy had mentioned earlier, we have a TIF-funded energy efficiency grant program in our urban renewal areas that are underway, but that's actually just one of many ways that we look to support businesses in these initiatives. We also have a Climate Action at Work award program that was launched last year to recognize businesses that are taking these actions. And we have ideas outlined in the plan of ways that businesses can become involved in reducing emissions, such as launching an eco-driving campaign for their employees, or increasing tree plantings, including in parking lots. Of course, we don't want you to feel like we're saying, here are some great ideas, now go out and do them. We want to be a supportive and good partner in these actions. And so as part of that, the plan also calls for climate action grants. And if there is nothing else you remember from what I say today, I would say that is the biggest takeaway, if only because that grant application period is about to open and will remain open in March. We'll be accepting grants for the 2021 grant cycle. And those grants are awards up to $10,000 to help forward climate action at your place of work. So if you hear an idea like, hey, great, I really would like to plant a whole bunch of trees in my parking lot, applying for these grants would be a way to get funding to enable you to do so. In addition, we want to make sure that businesses operating in the city are aware of other funding opportunities available to them that help coincide with these goals. And that is why we brought in MidAmerican today to talk about their energy efficiency rebate program, which is a way to help reduce the upfront costs for energy efficiency measures, which we know long-term can help reduce costs for your operations overall. So, you have Wendy and I and our contact information, but we think the real stars of the show today are actually our MidAmerican colleagues who are going to come on next. I was saying earlier when we were doing a dry run of the presentation that we came up with a relatively dry name for it, talking about energy efficiency opportunities. But in some ways, I said the real name of this program should be Money, 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 because Wendy and I are here to talk about money that's available to you through the city. And now our colleagues with MidAmerican are available to talk about the money that is available through their programs. So with that, I will stop sharing and turn it over to them.
There we go. Hang on, I'm just trying to share my screen here. All right, can you guys see my screen? Okay, can you guys see it? Okay, all right. All right, so as Sarah said, my name is Amber Moser, and I'm a product manager in energy efficiency at MidAmerican Energy. I've been with the utility company going on 23 or 24 years. I've kind of lost count. Currently, I manage the residential equipment, non-residential energy solutions, and trade ally programs, as well as I also manage the energy efficiency rebate processing center and call center. But like Sarah said, there's more than just me here. So I also have Brian Gibbs and Wim Murray along with me, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Brian Gibbs. I am a key account manager located here in Iowa City. Pretty much have the Iowa City Cedar Rapids corridor as part of my territory, and would just working primarily with our commercial industrial customers. Would just encourage you, if you have any questions or any energy projects that we can assist with, why be sure to let us know, and we'll be happy to assist any way we can. Wim.
Hello, I'm Wim Murray. I'm the business account manager at MidAmerican Energy. So I work with commercial customers that are not key accounts and offer one-on-one assistance for anything to do with your gas and electric services. So such as energy efficiency rebates, I can be a first point of contact. Yes, and I'll just echo what Brian said, which is definitely reach out to us with any questions for MidAmerican Energy. Back to you, Amber.
Okay, thanks, guys. Okay, so here's the agenda for the rest of the meeting today. I'm going to give a little bit of an overview of MidAmerican Energy, talk about the business programs that are available to you guys, dive into Small Business Express and direct project assistance, talk about some resources that we have available to you guys, and then we'll wrap up like Emily had said, we'll wrap up with questions and answers at the end. So just a little bit about MidAmerican Energy. We are a subsidiary of Berkshire Hathaway, which consists of 10 companies. We have approximately 3,300 employees, and we're headquartered in Des Moines. We have about 1.5 million electric and natural gas customers in 4 Midwestern states, which include Iowa, Illinois, Nebraska, and South Dakota. That area covers about 10,600 miles. And we also have about 9,800 megawatt of own power capacity. So with the completion of our 2020 wind projects, MidAmerican Energy will have over 7,000 megawatts of clean renewable energy generated from 36 wind projects and more than 3,300 wind turbines spread across 32 counties in Iowa. I know that's a lot of numbers, but wind power in Iowa serves more than 2.4 million households. And associated with MidAmerican's renewable energy generation is its Green Advantage program, which allows Iowa customers to quantify a verified amount of renewable energy that was delivered to them to meet their needs. So in 2019, MidAmerican provided its Iowa customers with 61.3% of their electricity from renewable sources. And this amount is verified by the Iowa Utility Board on an annual basis, and we actually anticipate that percentage will increase with 2020's reporting. So not only have our renewable energy projects assisted with keeping MidAmerican's rates to be the 12th lowest in the nation, but the projects have also resulted in significant economic development benefits to be realized across the state in the form of new business growth, rural development, property tax revenue, lease payments, and new jobs supporting the fastest growing industry, which is the wind industry. Okay, so let's talk about energy efficiency. In 2021, this is a list of business programs available to you. We have commercial new construction, income qualified multifamily housing, non-res equipment, and non-res energy solutions, which is broke up into two programs, which is Small Business Express and Direct Project Assistance. And so let's take a little bit deeper look into those. So for commercial new construction, it provides complimentary energy design assistance and financial incentives to help offset the cost of implementing energy efficiency strategies for commercial and multifamily buildings. All commercial new construction projects are only eligible for incentives through the CNC program. They are not eligible for prescriptive rebates. In Iowa, only electric incentives are available to new construction projects. However, natural gas equipment will be modeled and included in the report that is provided by our implementation contractor. And you could potentially get custom incentives for those as well. The multifamily incentive structure has changed a little bit in 2020 and 2021. It's on a sliding scale, and it's paid based on the savings achieved at that building above energy code. So let's say the building is 100 units, and anywhere between 5 and 10% above code, you get $100 per unit. And as you increase those energy savings, you increase the amount of rebate that you receive per unit. So you can get all the way up, if you're 26% above code, you can get $900 per unit in that multifamily facility. Major renovation projects, they are also able to participate within the commercial new construction program. That just means that you need to have 2 or more major systems being replaced. So mechanical system and lighting, or building shell and a mechanical system. So it just has to have 2. So, all right, now we'll move on to income qualified multifamily. This is also known as our low income multifamily. The program is available only in Iowa. In Illinois, those customers are able to participate in the non-res equipment program. In order to participate, the building needs to be at least 10 years old, and you need to meet one of the 3 criteria at the first 3 sub-bullets here. So developed under Section 8, have a housing and urban development section housing types, Section 2, and then or the U.S. Department of Ag Section 515. So if you have one of those criteria met, then you just have to be the building has to be 10 years old. So the program provides comprehensive on-site energy assessments, and we provide free direct install measures in the common areas and the residential units. And the incentives for the measures that are identified in the assessment are at an increased rate as well. And something that's new in 2021 is, as part of a direct install, we provide air sealing and attic insulation, which we had not provided previously. Okay, so moving on to non-res equipment program. This is a prescriptive rebate program, and it provides a variety of lighting fixtures or lighting equipment, as well as heating and cooling equipment like air source heat pumps, central air conditioner, furnace, and natural gas boilers. The thing that's different about prescriptive is that the equipment needs to be purchased, installed, and operated between January and December of 2021, prior to submitting those rebate papers. And it also, the equipment for that project needs to be within 6 months of dealer invoice and the submission. So just a few extra criteria that need to be met in order to be able to apply for those rebates. But I do want to say that if you don't see something in our prescriptive list of measures, let us know, because we do have custom measures as well that can be provided through the non-res energy solutions program. And in 2021 here, our goal is to issue rebates within 2 weeks of an approved application. So if we get everything we need, invoice, application, and we can get the check out the door in 2 weeks. So that's a major improvement for us. Okay. The other program that I want to talk about is Non-Res Energy Solution. And this program promotes comprehensive energy efficiency for commercial, industrial, multifamily, and ag customers through two offerings: Small Business Express, which is delivered through qualified service provider network, and then larger industrial, commercial, residential customers through direct project assistance. I do want to note that multifamily rebates, multifamily is a little bit different in the sense that you have, sometimes it's, there's a residential unit, I should say furnaces in each residential unit. And so if it's metered residentially, then you're going to get residential incentives. But if it's the common area, which is typically non-res metered, then you would be eligible for the non-residential incentives. So it just kind of depends on how the building is metered and what incentives that you would qualify for. So, okay, now I want to dive a little bit deeper into Small Business Express. And for the small business owners that are on the line, this is the best place for you to start because it's designed for small to mid-sized non-res customers less than 50,000 square feet and under 100,000 in total annual energy costs. Like I mentioned before, it's delivered by qualified service providers. We call them QSPs that have been approved through MidAmerican through an online application process. So you choose a contractor from the list, they come out. The goal is for them to identify energy savings opportunities and assist you with prioritizing those and getting those implemented so that bottom line is it can reduce your overall energy costs. So the benefits for participating is that you have access to exclusive and increased equipment rebates. So what that means is that we have a list of measures within the non-res equipment program, but within this Small Business Express, we have additional measures that you're not going to find on the non-res list. And the rebates within the Small Business Express program are almost double what they are within the non-res equipment. So it's very advantageous to participate in this program. And again, the benefit is you get this assessment report. It has recommendations on it. It has rebates on it, the savings estimate, simple payback. It has a lot of good information for you to help you make decisions on what you want to implement. And then it also has the potential for you reducing your upfront out-of-pocket costs because we can pay the incentive to the qualified service provider rather than yourself. So that reduces the amount that they're going to invoice you. So it takes away some of that upfront cost. So at high level, I just wanted to show how easy it is to participate within Small Business Express. It's literally a 5-step process. So you enroll, which is basically scheduling somebody to come out and do an assessment. They come out, they do a 2 to 3 hour on-site walkthrough, depending on how big your facility is. They create a report. You select the projects that you want to implement. You install it. And once you install, then we reserve those funds for you. And then once the project's complete, then we pay you. So it's very, very easy 5 steps. I want to break them down just a little bit for you though, because again, this is what I feel is going to be the best program for you. Okay, so once you know that you have a project that you want to get done, you contact a qualified service provider to come out to your facility. We have a list of those qualified service providers available on our website, and I'll talk about that a little bit later in the presentation. I do want to say though that if you're in an area where it doesn't look like we have a qualified service provider for you, just give our program a call and my contractor will come out, my implementation contractor, they'll come out and they'll do it. So there's always going to be somebody available to serve you. You and the qualified service provider agree on a date and time. They come out. I do want to give you the heads up that for quality control purposes, we do have my implementation contractor come along sometimes just to monitor, make sure we're following process and things of the nature. So if you see an extra person, that's what it's for. But then you obtain the report, which provides you with all that good stuff that I previously talked about with, the rebate that you potentially could get, your simple payback, etc. And so the last three steps, they kind of go hand in hand. Once you have that assessment done, you and your qualified service provider, you look at the assessment and you go, okay, these are the projects I want to install. And so you guys agree on the scope of work for this project. The first project needs to be completed within 90 days, and we reserve those funds for you. So in the state of Iowa, I think everybody knows, with legislation, our budgets aren't as big, but if you go through this program, you're guaranteed those funds. So it's just another benefit to go through the program. And then the last thing is the rebate. And again, I was talking about how it can help you with your upfront costs. We can lower that because if you authorize, we can pay the qualified service provider the incentive, and then that in turn just really reduces the amount that they're going to invoice you. So again, the Small Business Express program is super easy and very beneficial to small businesses, something to help you get up and going again with the challenges that we've all faced over the last year. Okay, so the other thing that we have within that non-res energy solutions program is direct project assistance. And this is a little bit different in the sense that it's designed for mid-sized to larger customers that are greater than 50,000 square feet and over that 100,000 in total annual energy costs. Direct project assistance provides an exceptional level of assistance for larger commercial buildings and industrial facilities by providing individualized support to streamline your experience and maximize your savings. Because when you get into those bigger projects, it's a lot more complex. They're a lot harder to figure out. So we have energy managers that we provide to assist our customers. So our team of energy managers and engineers, they'll work with you and your facilities team to identify, evaluate, and implement energy savings opportunities, again, to reduce your costs, improve safety, and increase comfort in your facility. So take advantage of this technical assistance and the available incentives through direct project assistance to optimize operations and improve your bottom line. So the incentives that are available for direct project assistance are the typical standard incentives that are within the non-res energy or non-res equipment program, but then we also have custom. So if, again, you don't see them on the list, they can go through our custom program, and as long as it's cost effective, the energy savings that you receive, we take that times 8, 10, and 12 cents times the saving to get your custom rebate. So it's also advantageous, and those incentive levels are up about 1.5 times what they were last year. So again, it's something to help everybody just really get started on making improvements within your facility. Okay, a little bit about resources. I've mentioned a few things. I would highly recommend everybody go out to our website. It's www.midamericanenergy.com. And then we have an Iowa or Illinois pages on energy efficiency. And we have information for Small Business Express that I talk lengthy about. This is just a picture of our qualified service provider list. And then also the list of the measures that are available there. So I would recommend going out there, maybe just taking a peek at those, see what kind of equipment you have in your facility and what might, be failing, or, that you could upgrade and really have a lot of savings from. See if we have a rebate out there for it, and hook up with a qualified service provider. The other thing that you can find out on our website are all the applications to apply for any of the rebates, our qualifications and conditions, because obviously we want you to be a MidAmerican customer and serve the fuel for the equipment that you're installing. So there are some, requirements. So just take a peek at those. And then there's additional programs that I'm not even talking about. So, we're all homeowners or have equipment in the place where we live, right? And so we may want to make those upgrades as well. So that information is out there too. But one thing that I do want to focus on that I think will help you guys the most is our segment specific reports. And this is new. We've only had these out here a couple months. But it's a really good resource that you can take a look at to see what uses the most energy for your segment type. When I say segment, I mean, are you a restaurant, a convenience store, an auto body shop? So those are different segments. And so we we compared those in the Midwest and provided you information. So, what uses the most for a typical restaurant or auto body shop or a hotel. And so you get that type of information out there. We provide a variety of ways to save. So on the right-hand side is ways to save. So depending on if it's cooking equipment or refrigeration or different types of equipment, we're going to give you ideas on how to save. And they're simple ways to save, low cost, and then of course capital investments. So some of these are no cost to you, turning your equipment off during idle time. And there's just different tips that might help you save money without having to spend a dime. The other thing is how do you compare to other small customers? How do you understand your energy use? And then the bottom line, though, the most important thing, I guess I'll steal Sarah's line from when she was talking earlier. The most important thing is that I want you to remember is that these sector sheets will also help you understand how you can consume energy and how to get started in making impactful improvements to reduce your energy costs. Currently, we have 10 segments out there. But we're going to continue to build at least, 5 to 10 again this year. So it just kind of depends. So we're trying to get those started. So use that as a resource. I think it's very valuable to you guys. Okay. Last thing I kind of want to mention was contact information. I know the three of us introduced ourselves, but we do have a non-res energy solutions hotline. The number is on our website. Reach out to that number. I've talked a lot about programs. It gets confusing on where am I going to go? What am I going to do? Don't worry about that. Call the number. We'll work with you to meet your needs. Whatever your needs are, we're going to find what's the best fit for you to get you where you want to be. So if you don't remember, Small Business Express is option 1 on the phone. Don't worry about it. And if you don't want to call us, you can always email us at nes@midamerican.com. And we will respond to your emails as well. But just pick up the phone, just get in contact with us. The other thing is that you also heard from Brian Gibbs and Wim Murray. Wim is more designed for the smaller businesses, which I think is what we have a lot of on the phone today. So here's Wim's contact information. So that'll be on the PowerPoint when they post it on YouTube, while after this training session. So I can't stress enough about reaching out to us. Let us help you. We have a lot of programs and resources at your fingertips, and we would love to help you get started again after COVID and everything. So, we are here for you. And the other thing is talk to your friends. You probably have other friends that have businesses. Tell them what you heard about. Drive them to this YouTube video or drive them to our website. So we are here for you. Another thing that I wanted to mention, and I think it was Sarah that mentioned it earlier today too, is that when you install those energy efficient equipment or you utilize some of their grants and stuff like that, when you do that, you're not only eligible for a rebate, but you're also going to save for years to come. Because if you install a furnace, it's going to reduce your energy costs. And then you're going to feel that for years. It's not just, oh, I get a rebate, So there's more than just one benefit to installing equipment or utilizing some of our programs that we have talked about today. So with that, hopefully I didn't go too fast, but we'll open it up to questions. It's not just for me. I understand it's probably questions for everybody. So we would love to hear what you guys have to learn more about. Emily, do we have any questions on the, nope.
I have a question, if I could jump in.
Sure.
One of the questions that comes up for us a lot at the city, when we talk about our programs for businesses, is they'll say, this sounds great, but I rent my space. Mm-hmm. And is there a process in place for that? And we do at the city have a process. If you are a renter for your business space, where we can work with you and your landlord to still have that option for you to access those grants, or your landlord to access those grants, so that you can move forward on these projects. If somebody rents their space and wants to take advantage of energy efficiency rebates through MidAmerican, is there a process set up for that?
Well, typically we pay customer of record. That's what it states in our qualifications and conditions. And when we enter the project, it pulls in the customer of record. When you are in a landlord type situation or whatever, we do work with you on that. We would just need to get verification from the facility owner if you're the tenant, or vice versa or whatever. So I would encourage you just to make sure that you're in contact with the owner, or if you're the tenant or you're the owner, make sure you contact your tenant and make sure that we're aware of that so we know who to pay. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, that's great. Could I ask a follow-up question?
Sure.
I thought the resource sheets you highlighted were really amazing. The idea that, you could pick the kind of business you are, such as a restaurant, and look at what the savings are.
Yeah.
If somebody is new to the energy efficiency realm and they're trying to think of where to get started, what would you say generally the low-hanging fruit is for folks to look into?
Well, I think the real low-hanging fruit are the things that are just very simple and no cost to you, like checking your thermostat settings and getting a Wi-Fi would be the best thermostat, so it just cycles on and off when it needs to, turning your equipment off, or looking at your phantom load and things like that. So those are the things that I would tackle first, and then you always have your low cost. Lighting is always a big thing because there's typically older lighting in a lot of facilities. And so by installing new lighting, you're just really going to see the benefit from that. As I'm explaining this, I'm not sure if you're meaning low hanging fruit for ways to save, or where they should find out information that's low hanging about the segment that they're within. So either, I just talked about the ones of like, what do you tackle first? The low hanging fruit. The other thing I would say about that is that if you have aging equipment, those are always things to look at, because as things get older, they just draw more and more energy to be able to operate. But on the flip side, to answer, in case you were looking at the other perspective, I would just go out to our website and look at the sector sheets that we have out there, look at the programs that we have, and get in contact with us, because we're gonna know, based on your segment or your customer size or whatever, what's the best way to meet the needs that you have.
If somebody contacts you, are they obligated to follow up?
Absolutely not. Especially with Small Business Express, do we want you to do something? Yeah, because we want to help you reduce your bottom line or reduce your energy costs. But if you go through the assessment and they point out 3 things and you just don't have the money right now, it's okay. You're not obligated to continue. You have it for when maybe things do turn a corner and we all get our vaccines and everybody can get back out in the world, and you start making money, and you can, you still have that report, and you can start back up at any time. But that's a great question.
We do have a few other questions that came through.
Okay.
First one is actually for Wendy and Sarah. You discussed some grant opportunities for local businesses that will open in March. Where can people find that information?
That's a great question. We have that information available on the City of Iowa City's website. It hasn't been posted quite yet because we're adjusting the information for this year, which is good news. The bad news is the information isn't up yet. The good news is it's not up because those grants have gone from being $5,000 a piece to $10,000 a piece. So feel free to reach out to Wendy or myself for more information in the interim, and just keep your eye on the website for when that launches.
The next question is, if somebody has already started a project with their small business, are they still able to apply for rebates either through the city or through MidAmerican?
I can go first. Our prescriptive rebates, you can start your project, you can install it, and that's when you submit your paperwork. So as long as it's within 6 months of when you were invoiced, and in 2021, because we just started a new plan year, yeah, you can apply for the rebates. So.
As for the city, I don't think we have a policy written on this, so I'm going to say it depends. But generally, our take on that is that we like to be the last dollars in on a project and be the catalyst to make something happen that wouldn't have otherwise. So generally, if a project is already begun, then it would have happened without city assistance. However, this is a little different, and we should talk.
And the only thing I would add to what Wendy said is that if it turns out you're far enough along in the process that you might not be eligible for the, let's say, grant opportunities, then maybe the discussion shifts to looking at the Climate Action at Work Awards, where you get some recognition and publicity for it, and the city has a admittedly smaller cash award tied to that, but still something to help offset those costs.
Alrighty, and the last one we actually got twice. How does a company become a qualified service provider for these rebates?
Okay, to become a qualified service provider, I would recommend calling the number that was on the screen. We have an agreement and an insurance level for you to meet, and once that's met, then you're good to go. So it's pretty simple.
We will hold on for just a second here to see if anything else comes through.
Okay.
This is always the fun part. All righty. Well, I think since we have everybody's contact information largely in the chat, and you can, as an attendee, go in and click the 3-dot menu there. We can, if somebody could put the phone number that the qualified service providers can call to get started with that in the chat to all attendees, that would also be helpful. I'll go ahead and put up my last few slides here. As I mentioned at the beginning, this is part of a series. Our next session will be in March on the 9th again. It'll be mental fitness, your key to business resiliency. It'll be presented by Rena Jensen. She's, I think, pretty well known around. You can register that on our website, and I'll put that link in the chat as well. Registration is open currently. I'd like to give one more thank you to all of our sponsors: MediaCom Business, BRL Human Resources Consulting, the City of Coralville, Terry Lockridge and Dunn, and of course the City of Iowa City. And with that, I think we are good to go. So thank you all for coming. This recording will be posted, barring any technical difficulties, within about an hour. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Everyone.